The following video is audio focused. Relax, leave this on while you work or something.
Hello all, and welcome to another iteration of Mr.Flamingo Talks, where today we'll be discussing the slow and methodical death of the DC movie franchise. Your least favorite topic.
I thought we were done talking about this.
Well, it's over. So that's why we're talking about it. It's reflection time, folks. Co-host monologue while I pull up the list of DCEU movies. Don't monologue on what you want to monologue about.
Sometimes we do these. We record these back to back, and so I have to kind of change my energy on the spot. Clearly, the review videos, I'm more rambunctious.
Some could use the word rambunctious.
When it comes to news, I'm even more rambunctious. When it comes to talks, I'm a little more chill. But I can still feel some of the energy. We haven't done this in a while.
Not in the conventional sense.
No, because someone's been busy.
It's been him.
Yeah, it's me. I've been busy.
So I've kind of just been taking nothing but liberties for about a month. Just a whole month of creative liberties.
Clearly.
I mean, the Yule log, not my finest. My year-end review.
What was it? We did 2 year-end reviews. Why?
I realized that.
Yeah, why?
At first, I was like, "Hey, year-end review. That's not a bad idea." And then,
it wasn't a bad idea for the first time.
Well, they're kind of in different spins. To be fair, I have the year-end review, which was my debut year. No, there's absolutely nothing different between the two of them.
Exactly.
That's a problem. Wow, when was the last time I did news? A month ago.
We haven't done news in a long time because I've been busy too.
Well,
FAFSA. Don't get me started on FAFSA.
Anywho.
God, don't get me started on FAFSA. Don't get me started.
Just a rundown of the slow and methodical end of the DC extended universe.
Great.
Because we're hyped for it. What's the Superman one coming out? Superman.
I don't know.
James Gunn's Superman's gonna be fun.
That one.
Let me paint you a picture though, folks. It's 2013. The Dark Knight trilogy is over. Avengers is the talk of the town. DC needs to take a step in. They're trying to play quick catch up.
DC didn't need to take a step in.
That's what they felt they needed to do. So, ladies and gentlemen, Zack Snyder presents you Man of Steel in 2013. Starring Henry Cavill. Man of Steel was a fun... No, it wasn't. Man of Steel was a good film. It wasn't fun. It was kind of sad. And just kind of like... Superman didn't need to snap General Zod's neck.
Man of Steel...
Why'd he snap his neck? Man of Steel was a good analysis movie of what Superman would be in a more grounded setting.
Not a good Superman.
It was not a good Superman
movie.
That's our take, because let's be real. It wasn't. Henry Cavill as Superman was good.
Yes.
But the depiction of Superman
effort into depicting
was
Superman.
Questionable. I mean, I know it's like just overdone, but in the moment, Clark could have moved General Zod's laser eyes another way or cover it with his hand. He has super invulnerability.
He is Superman.
He's literally Superman. Cover his hand. Snap his neck. But the groundwork was there. It was a standalone Superman film. Everything was right in the world. And then they waited 3 years and gave us Batman versus Superman.
I mean, I don't know. The economy.
Everything was good enough in the world.
We made mistakes not getting into the housing market at that time.
Everything was movie-wise good in the world. Man of Steel was standalone. We had all anticipated something next. Maybe a new Batman or maybe a Wonder Woman. And then 3 years later, Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. What a bad film.
Yeah.
I mean,
Why did you say that name?
this is true. You tee up an entire showdown between Batman and Superman that turns out to be no more than 5 to 10 minutes. And then you shoehorn in Wonder Woman, and then you toss in Doomsday in the last 20 minutes.
Doomsday.
And then
You waste Doomsday.
yeah. And then it's just and then you give all the Justice League cameos and give them their own logos without giving them their own films yet. It was stuffed. Now, many would say you should watch the extended cut to get the full experience. My argument is, why do I need to see the extended cut to get a good experience out of this film? That's just going out of my way. I should have sat in that movie theater and went, wow, this was a good experience.
Why the universe is being canceled.
And then Suicide Squad came around. And according to the director, we never even saw his real version of this movie, which is a different conundrum, but in terms of the Suicide Squad presented to us, it was okay at best.
It was okay. It wasn't very bad, but it wasn't very good.
So it was okay. I mean, everybody was fun. It was nice to see a live-action Deadshot. Harley Quinn finally makes her live-action debut. I mean, Captain Boomerang. They give some people. Killer Croc shows up, and that kind of stuff's fun because you hadn't seen him yet. So this helped establish that there was a world. I know Batman vs. Superman showed up. It was well, here's Batman and here's Wonder Woman. But this really helps flesh out the world, at least. It gave some life to, people have villains. Everything's going on. Jared Leto's Joker is the worst thing to ever happen to that character. I mean, you give him some big old grills and write damaged on your forehead, and he becomes the biggest joke in that universe.
In that movie.
No. Technically in the universe.
In the universe?
He ended up in Zack Snyder's Justice League cut.
Yeah. I was gonna bring that up later.
No, I know, but you mean in the movie, but I'm saying Jared Leto just across the board. Anywho.
Send rats and feces to co-stars. You remember that?
I remember that. Wonder Woman comes out.
Oh my goodness.
Great film.
Great. Absolutely
Weak
amazing.
third act.
Mwah.
Weak third act. But overall, great film.
I love the World War One setting of the movie. World War One? World War Two? I forgot.
World War One. They didn't want to make her too close to Captain America.
I absolutely loved the World War One setting. Great movie. I would say up to that point, best movie in the DC. EU?
This is the extended universe. So
best
EU.
movie in the DCEU at that time.
I'd agree. I just think they're designed for Ares, the god of war, could have been a little better.
Yes.
Because if you had made it more, at least a little leaning towards the comic book version, he would have had these cool, imposing red eyes. But every time they made the creative choice to zoom in on Ares, he was just a old British man in a helmet. But that's nitpicky. Overall, it's great. Just some creative choices.
It's very great. Very great.
The two versions of Justice League purely Zack Snyder, and Justice League Joss Whedon. We'll get to Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Because that came out later.
The Justice League presented to us in 2017 was one that had been the victim of multiple reshoots by Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron helm Joss Whedon. You would think somebody who at least seemed to understand the ideas of an ensemble film would make this feel an ensemble film. But in his version of Justice League, everybody is useless until Superman shows up. If you ever look back on that film, I think Mr. Sunday Movies, I was watching his review recently on there.
Love Mr.
He said
Sunday
it best.
Movies.
He was like, in a
Check out
creative
this film.
choice, everybody's a chump until Superman shows up. Like none of them hold their own really against Steppenwolf. And then Superman shows up and just floors everybody. And it's like, I guess. And there was this weird slapstick comedy for this Justice League film that didn't need to be there. It was
for the characters to be built up super serious in the previous movies. When they're doing their superhero stuff.
And then to turn it into this, even when Avengers didn't lean into comedy like this, it was strange. This was a butchering of a film. It was odd. Fast forward a year later, the aftermath has changes, to say the least, for the rest of this franchise, as 2018 presents us Aquaman. I believe the only DCEU movie to do $1 billion.
A pretty good movie.
It was a pretty good movie. It was at its best visually. Visuals were where it was its strongest. Atlantis looked great. Set pieces were fantastic to stare at. It was all beautiful. It was so fun.
Black Manta. What? No? Yeah. Black Manta. Very cool. Very cool character. I was thinking Man Ray for a second.
Man Ray.
Man Ray. Black Manta. Very cool character. Possibly my favorite character in that movie.
Great film, though. Shazam comes out in 2019. Also, notice a pattern. They can now, oversaturation is not a good thing, but they've barely put out anything in the span of a few years, which is saying something. But Shazam shows up in 2019, the movie created by David F. Sandberg, and it follows Billy Batson, and it hits all the beats, and it's a fun family film. This is that nice niche area that they were hoping for, where it was the comedy was good, and it made sense because Shazam's just a kid in like an adult body. Dr. Sivana shows up. It was fun, but as we go on, as you can see, a lot of these films become just, hey, this was fun. It was a good time.
A good time.
But not like, wow, this was something to remember. No, it was fun.
Something to go back to.
Birds of Prey, or the full name of this film, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
Wait, we were supposed to watch that?
I seen that. It's okay.
Okay.
As you can see, we were supposed to watch that. That is the reaction of most people when they talked about this film. I thought this was a good film, but it butchered the character, the live-action debut of Cassandra Cain, who usually in the comic books is this mute assassin, but here she's this street-loving, talkative girl who pickpockets everybody. Calling it Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn was a creative choice that shouldn't have happened. This shouldn't have even been a Birds of Prey film. If it was, you don't do Harley. You could have done a Batgirl or something. If you were going to do Harley, make it Gotham City Sirens and do just the rest of the villains. Don't try and have your cake and eat it too, is basically the lesson of this film. But Ewan McGregor shines as Black Mask. Great villain.
Great.
Really tragic spoilers that they kill him. What a waste. Wonder Woman 1984 shows up that year, 2020, in December. They take Maxwell Lord, a notorious character from the comics who was the reason behind the death of the second Blue Beetle and a bunch of intense storylines, and they turn him into a glorified salesperson, and they jumped the gun on killing Steve Trevor, so they found a way to bring back Chris Pine in that film. That was kind of weird.
Which was very weird if you think about
But
it.
so-
Just a little.
So don't really think about it.
Technically,
He's inhabiting some dude's body. Watch that film and make of it what you will.
very
Questionable choices. This was a strange turn in this franchise because you go from the original Wonder Woman, which was so cool,
great, amazing, fantastic. You can hear it in our excitement about talking about it.
and you go to this one, and it's questionable. Chris Pine is still charming. You can't take that away. Gal Gadot is still a great Wonder Woman. You can't take that away, but you put them in this movie, and you can see why this starts to turn bad. The Snyderverse fans win, though, the next year in March of 2021, as Zack Snyder's Justice League, the 4-hour cut of this film, sees the light of day.
Hey.
That's a different kind of beast, because this is the director's vision, and by this point it is too little, too late.
You can watch did it come release in theaters? I forget.
For like a day or two.
It released in theaters for like
A
very
short amount of time.
Short amount of time. But it came out on the streaming platform, which, by the way, sure, you can sign up for a month and then you cancel it and then
Don't even look, hot take, don't even sign up for Max. They're gutting their service every month of stuff.
just pirate it.
It's if you want to see
Flamingo
Snyder's,
supports pirating.
I do. Nintendo, anything, doesn't matter. If you want to see Snyder's Justice League vision, then this is the film for you. But it's too little, too late, and I don't agree with some of the choices. I mean,
If you want to check it out, you can check it out.
by this point, though, we move on to James Gunn's debut in this movieverse with The Suicide Squad, and we're on the upswing.
Yeah, great. Woo!
We are seeing the light of day.
Absolutely amazing.
It was so
I
fun,
would
so
say it
creative.
tops Wonder Woman for me at this point.
Tops Wonder Woman for him at this point. Creatively so interesting, utilizes the concept of the Suicide Squad correctly, introduces people like freaking Starro the Conqueror, who you wouldn't think you'd see in live action, at least on the big screen, because he showed up in like a TV show. But
What's the name of the shark? No.
King Shark. I forget his actual name, but it's King Shark.
That is King Shark. Love King Shark.
So,
Great. Amazing.
Ratcatcher,
Favorite
Peacemaker,
character right there. 10
all
out of
this
10.
stuff. It was awesome. It was the
Bird.
perfect use of this IP.
Mustache.
They took advantage of everything they could to create a fun and memorable film that you could look back on and you could be like, this was a great time.
No Eat Friends.
And then next year we get hit in the face by, to quote the people's champion, the hierarchy of the DC universe is about to change. We got Black Adam. Wow. It's scary when in a Black Adam film, the coolest parts of the movie involve the Justice Society of America, specifically Dr. Fate. And then, spoilers, you kill Dr. Fate. It's a weird habit they have. Like in Birds of Prey, it was like, wow, Black Mask is so good. So they kill him. Wow, Dr. Fate is so good. So they kill him. Why? The villain's not memorable. Dwayne Johnson's performance as Teth Adam is not memorable. Noah Centineo as freaking Atom Smasher was okay. I forget who plays Cyclone, but she was cool. Hawkman was pretty cool. This film was okay.
The end credit scene, though,
Was awesome. You see Amanda Waller threaten Black Adam. She says, I have somebody I can call as a favor.
At this point,
Henry Cavill returns as Superman. He says, Black Adam, we need to talk, or I think we should talk, or whatever. And that's it.
he's back.
He's back.
He's back, baby.
And then they cancel the DCEU. Henry Cavill goes, it's true, I've donned the cape again, I'm back. And then about 2 to 3 months later, they cancel the DCEU, and he goes, I've just been on a call with Peter Safran and James Gunn, the heads of the new DC universe coming out, and they've informed me I'm no longer Superman. So he was back, and then he was gone. And that'll be forever, unfortunately, the legacy of Black Adam. Dwayne Johnson was cast in this role for like 15 years. He finally gets to make the movie. It's not that good, and he has a really awesome post-credit scene that doesn't go anywhere. And that is the legacy of this film.
Gone in a flash.
We'll get there. Next up was the long-awaited sequel of Shazam, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Wow, it sucked. You've turned Billy Batson and Shazam way more into a man-child. Black Adam's not even in the film. In the end credits of the first Shazam, Dr. Savannah meets Mr. Mind, I believe the little insect's name is. And he's like, patience, Dr. Savannah. Our time will come. And then in this end credit scene, Dr. Savannah's still in prison and Mr. Mind shows up. And Dr. Savannah's like, it's been 7 years! What are you doing? And he's like, patience, Dr. Savannah, our time will come. And he just leaves again. And that'll forever be the legacy of this film.
Just like The Flash.
We'll get there. They fumble the bag on Mr. Mind, and Black Adam never crosses paths with any of them, and this film was not as good as the first. Just like The Flash. Let me paint you a picture. The Flash TV series starring Grant Gustin premieres.
You know what? We should do this entire video all over again, but we should make references to The Flash, and you should just keep saying, we'll talk about it in just a second.
Do you want to?
Really?
I mean, we'll have just kind of wasted 22 minutes of our lives.
I don't mind.
No, never mind. Let me continue.
Wait, hold on.
Let me just keep painting this picture, man. Let me paint you a picture of a hopeful young lad, Mr. Flamingo lad. The Flash TV series has just come out. Grant Gustin stars as Barry Allen, the fastest man alive. Life is good. About 2 episodes into the show, though, they announced that there's going to be a Flash movie coming out in just the next couple of years. Starring, well, ladies and gentlemen, starring Ezra Miller. The movie gets delayed. Flash TV series keeps going, but I'm like, don't worry, guys. The movie's going to show up. Just give it a second. Movie gets delayed. I'm like, don't worry. Just give it a second. The Flash TV series runs 9 seasons and borderline 10 years. Right at the 11th hour, ladies and gentlemen, the Flash premieres. After a 10-year wait, we finally see Ezra Miller's The Flash.
There's even some clip. I don't know if it's an ad. I don't know if it was. I've never seen the Flash TV show. On the CW.
Is it where they're together?
Where they're together.
It was mind blowing for a younger Mr. Flamingo's mind, because it was movie Barry Allen and TV Barry Allen, and it was during Crisis on Infinite Earths. I was like, wow. June 16th, 2023 will be one of the most disappointing days of my life marked in the books, after dragging my friends and telling them for years, the Flash movie's coming out. Flash movie finally comes out. I even get a bucket. I get a freaking popcorn bucket to commemorate the moment. I sit back in that theater with my co-host, various people that have showed up on these videos.
And support for you.
They're all here. They're all waiting. They're like, Flamingo Boy is gonna finally see this film he wouldn't shut up about for years. And we watched, and just like most of these freaking movies, it was okay. It was a fun time. But then in hindsight, it was such a bad film. Starring Ezra Miller and Ezra Miller as Barry Allen and Barry Allen.
Wait, hold on. I feel like you're not painting a good enough picture of the constant delays
for this
and the anticipation for this movie.
So the movie was supposed to come out. Actually, while we're here, I can look up a lot of this. Early developments. This movie was supposed to come out as early as freaking 2018. Oh wait, no. Warner Brothers was planning a new shared universe of films based on DC by July 2013 and had plans to release a Flash film as early as 2016. So the first initial release was 2016, a mere 2 years or so after the announcement of the film. In October of 2014, Warner Brothers and DC Films announced a slate of planned projects for their DC Extended Universe, pushing the Flash film to 2018.
A couple of years, not bad. All right.
Director after director was announced as joining the Flash film. They offered it to James Wan. He said, no, I'll make Aquaman. They offered it to Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. They said, nah, we'll make Solo instead. They offered it to Seth Grahame-Smith, and he said, no. In February of 2016, the release date was pushed back just a smidge. Just a smidge.
Just a smidge.
Grahame-Smith leaves the project in April.
April of what?
Of the year they were supposed to start filming, which was 2016.
Great.
Rick Famuyiwa was hired to take over as director by 2016 of June. Filming was expected to begin later in 2016. He leaves again. Let's see. Pre-production finally takes off for 2017. They just couldn't get it together. And then Ezra Miller goes off to do Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald.
The Crimes of what?
Grindelwald, not The Crimes of Ezra Miller.
Which will be getting too soon.
So then Joe B. Harold was hired to do a rewrite of the script to fit it in for where they're at that point. All right. He handed in a draft by May. Studio's top choices to direct were Robert Zemeckis and Matthew Vaughn. They expressed interest, but no scheduling. Sam Raimi, Mark Webb, Jordan Peele, they turned it down. Ben Affleck turned it down. Wow, that was that long ago? The film was announced with the new title of Flashpoint in July of 2017. Dan Mazzao contributed to the script. That probably got removed after a while. Johns confirmed that it would be Flashpoint. Jeffrey Dean Morgan expressed his interest in reprising the role. Lots of things go south. In January of 2018, the filmmaker duo John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein entered to write and direct the film.
Around the time where the movie should have come out.
Filming was expected to begin in Atlanta, February 2019. Ezra Miller starts to film Fantastic Beasts: Secrets of Dumbledore. Film gets delayed. Flash was aiming for a 2021 release date at that point. Ezra Miller was writing the script by March of 2019 themselves. The studio rejected Miller's script. Daley and Goldstein leave the project in July.
Ezra Miller goes on to commit crimes.
Ezra Miller goes on to commit a lot of crimes, but
So
just
many crimes.
after Andy Muschietti enters the negotiations to direct with his sister Barbara, January 2020 pre-production start was expected.
Wait, is the crimes happening yet?
The crimes is happening roughly around the time.
Okay.
So they start to film and crimes start happening. Lots and lots of crimes. So many crimes.
Ezra Miller goes off the deep end, though, towards the end.
What a shame. What a shame.
And it's supposed to come out, what, 2021?
And then
And
push
then
back
delayed
2020, 22.
to, like, it's supposed to come out, what, the spring of 21, and then push back to fall?
And then they pushed it back to 2022. And then I remember telling you, I was like, hey, guess what? You'll never believe me. And I think you said the Flash movie got delayed. And I went, the Flash movie got delayed. And it got delayed to 2023. And then it finally premiered and nobody cared.
It got pushed forward.
They got pushed forward like a month.
And it looked
awful.
awful. And Ezra Miller went off the deep end. So, like, I didn't really want to go watch The Flash. I only did it for Mr. Flamingo.
He did. Blue Beetle shows up on streaming and actually got moved to an actual theatrical release on August 18th. Nobody watched it. Aquaman just came out like a week or two ago. Nobody watched it.
Really?
Well, it's doing okay,
It's okay.
but it's not doing Aquaman 1 numbers. And then it all fizzles out after Aquaman, and we just wait for James Gunn's Superman Legacy in 2025. That is the life story of this franchise.
Gone in a flash.
Gone in a flash. Thank you for showing up to this talks.
This is a long time.
It's a long talks.
Wow.
Good night.